It will be contested in this melee matchup, so I think a lot of focus from both side lanes will go towards mid, but Astralis' team fight is pretty clear-cut. Lots of CC, lots of frontline, lots of front-to-back. You can dive if you want to as well. Whereas Misfits has a very strong split pusher in the Jax. Same damage share in mid-jungle, but they have a very good scaling bot lane, so we'll see how they dissect the map, but mostly playing towards sides, I imagine.
Yeah, getting that Jax in a position where he can just farm in a side lane makes a lot of sense. Misfits still looking for their first win of summer. And perhaps looking to Vetheo in the mid lane, the spring MVP, to try and put them on his back once again. Astralis have come out in pretty fine form, I'd say, here in summer. They've looked relatively consistent. They put up a challenge against G2 on day one, even though they did end up losing and took down BDS yesterday. It's a revitalized Astralis with the addition of JeongHoon, Xerxe, and Vizicsacsi.
A lot of experience coming in as well.
Yeah.
Support kind of like Rookie is. Kobbe, of course, has a lot of experience, but we're ready for Game 1, Misfits versus Astralis.
Misfits are ready to rapidly advance down this bottom lane, sprinting like Usain Bolt towards these bushes, perhaps looking to see if JeongHoon would overstep, but he just places a ward down towards that bottom river bush and will be fine. So all of Misfits here will back away. Mersa will ward then base, and usually we see these supports going for that Oracle. It actually looks like it was, I don't know who it was who warded. It was Neon. So,
Medic.
Yes.
Tahm Kench. Hail of Blades.
Yes.
Aggressive.
It is aggressive. Do you think it's going to work?
Well, I doubt it. I mean, there's not that many easy targets to get onto. Unless you can get on top of Veigar with no flash, then I think he'll do a lot of damage and probably get a one-shot. But yeah, the Pike will be a little bit slippery.
That's the thing, right? You get onto the Pike, he just dashes away and then hooks you back. You get onto the Veigar and he hasn't used Cage. He just cages on top of himself, and Senna can never really approach. So the reason that you take Hail of Blades on Tahm Kench, firstly, obviously extra auto attacks give you a bit more damage, but the acquired tastes, you stack up your passive quicker with those 3 auto attacks alongside the Tongue Lash. That means you can get the stun onto your opposition if you Tongue Lash them again, or even look for that Devour. Irrelevant here, waiting in the bush, just trying to keep Vizicsacsi a little bit apprehensive about approaching his lane.
Yeah, I'm also just looking at, hold that for a second, is relevant. We'll get a good trade, of course, into Sion. Looking at Pikes here, every single Pike normally runs Hail of Blades as expected, right? You get the hook, you get a lot of damage in. Or Aftershock in some cases. Never really seen a Glacial Augment Pike.
So the reason I don't mind it here is you talked about how you didn't think Astralis had too much lane pressure, too much lane control. And Hail of Blades Pike is very strong early on at getting a lot of damage down onto your opponents. You know you're really not looking to aggressively trade in the lane too much. So running the Glacial Augment gives you that slow, gives you that damage reduction. It makes sense to me. I'm not saying it's entirely optimal, but if you don't think you're going to get kills in the lane, reducing that damage can definitely help you out.
Yeah, puts the slowdown, makes so Veigar can land the spells easily. Will help as well when the cage is up. So Misfits right now getting a little bit of bot pressure as expected. Not really fightable level 1 when you're playing Pike Veigar against the Tahm Kench. I think mid lane is going to be where the focus is for both teams. I think both these kind of champions want to walk into the wave to push it. So that means that innately they'll trade against each other just like this as they try to contest the wave. So that means both junglers need to hover around. Dajor level 2 taking a hell of a lot of damage there. We'll have access to the E. Vetheo has it as well. Cookie on Vetheo means that 1v1 should be slightly in his favor. Neither side has Ignite.
You see Dajor going through the pots as well. Has that Doran shield, trying to heal himself back up. It's had a relatively good start to summer so far as Dajor on a team that perhaps you don't expect to give you too much. He's looked pretty strong as the hook does go down here. Mersa's not going to be stunned, and we can go back to talking about the mid lane.
Yeah, really good stats coming out of Dajor. I mean, we saw kind of glimpses of promise towards the end of the split on the Vex games and things like this. He just needed to expand his champion pool. Ryze was also one of his kind of favorite champions.
Yeah.
And now he's played, I mean, 2 games of Victor, I believe it is. 1 win, 1 loss. And of course, that champion can dish out a lot of damage, so inflates his numbers a bit. But when you're going up against the likes of Caps and actually going even in the lane and putting up a fight, that's always a good sign for a rookie.
It definitely is. And for Astralis and for him in particular, it's a good sign of what could come in summer. Obviously, Astralis placed 10th in spring, would be looking at a better performance than that because you can't really get much worse. Like, you can't place 11th. in a split with only 10 teams. But if they could somehow manage to pick up a few early wins, they could be looking at, you know, one of those lower playoff seeding spots.
Would be impressive if they finished 11th, but Irrelevant might have kill pressure here. He has Ghost if he wants to pop it, Chachi.
Oh, flash was too late from Chachi. Hook's going to come down here as Xerxe looks down towards the bottom side. Ignite taking onto Kobbe. Mersa trying to step forward. Doesn't have the flash, doesn't really have anywhere to go. The thick skin, a possibility. JeongHoon looking for the hook once again. 1 second before it's back up. Here it goes. Pulled back Mersa into the waiting arms of Kobbe. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Dajor's trading with Vetheo. The Kingslayer will heal him up. Dajor looking for the knock-up here as well. Soul Unbound goes forward. Vetheo flashes away.
A lot of fighting all around the map in the same couple seconds there. When the camera panned bot, I think Mersa must have flashed forwards to try and get a kill onto JeongHoon, but as he did that, Xerxe was on the way. And as the top kill happened, I mean, Irrelevant's W, it's almost like a Wukong Q in a sense, where if you flash the same time that the auto attack goes off, it doesn't cancel, it just goes straight through. And Chachi ends up getting solo killed. So we'll take a look at the replay of the top fight. Chachi being a little bit disrespectful here. The initial trade did a lot of damage to his HP bar, but his idea is he wants to crash the wave. Bone plating's up, doesn't feel too much damage, and at this point I think Chachi just has to say, okay, I'm going to base and TP, there's nothing I can do here. But he greeds a bit for these 2 range creeps on his Q, and ends up dying. Flashes the same second, Irrelevant presses W. Nice auto W cancel there, in the same frame there by Irrelevant. So, no, Mersa does flash the E from JeongHoon and then gets hooked back in, so tries to turn, sees the enemy jungler and realizes he's dead.
Yeah, as soon as you're in that sort of situation, you really can't get out of it as Tahm. Kench slowly walk your way away, but the Bone Skewer's on a short enough cooldown that Kobbe very happily accepts that kill. We saw a bit of trading in the mid lane as well as Vetheo had to burn both his summoners. Dajor TP'd back as well, but does have a flash advantage.
Does indeed, it's Irrelevant level 6 now.
He's ghosting in here as well. Knows Chachi doesn't have flash. The Empower hitting him with a lamppost over and over again. Vizicsacsi knows he's dead, goes back, will use the zombie passive to try and clear out some of these minions, and Chachi perhaps on the phone to the boss right now, being like, okay, mate, I've died twice, what do I do next?
Yeah, what do I do next, boss? Because if this was nameplates off, that's who I think it would be.
Boss is like, mate, I play volleyball these days.
Yeah, Sion sucks, Chachi, why did you pick it? That definitely wasn't a good death. I mean, he didn't really achieve much with the wave. He should be able to catch it in time, though, but the problem is this Jax is now sitting at 2-0, will rush towards the Sunder, and it's not like the matchup gets any better for the Sion.
There's already 1,000 gold behind in that bottom lane. Shlatan waiting around here. JeongHoon looking for the hook. And get caught up with the last embrace as well. Abyssal Voyage for the follow-up, and JeongHoon just too deep. Neon takes him out. Misfits have been brought to life today, it seems. It took them a game and 15 minutes to get their first kill of Summer here. In 6 minutes, they already have 3.
Definitely do. I think they would have got the 2v2 kill there without Shlatan anyway because of the root and then the chain CC from the knock-up. So now in a position of Xerxe, it's kind of an awkward spot. Top is losing so hard to the point where I think they would get 1v2'd. Mid lane is probably where he's going to put his focus when he hits that level 6. Shlatan's going to walk into Xerxe's blue buff here. Down a level, we'll see what he can get done. Has access to his ultimate. JeongHoon looks for the hook, does miss.
Xerxe going in, there's the root coming in as well as Kobbe comes forward with the Predator. Abyssal Voyage for JeongHoon will fall. Mersa now on the wrong side of the fight, though. It is a 4v3 in favor of Misfits. Mersa trying to walk away from this one, but the rest of his team have abandoned him, and the thick skin can only save him for so long. Knocked up, Dajor on the board.
Okay, so the invade kind of works there. You sacrifice one, but I think Misfits the real winners there, but Shlatan had to use his flash. Dajor still has access to the ultimate. Vetheo as well. Could take it away if he wants to, but now Xerxe is coming through lane. Imagine the wave's not in a great state, and Kobbe just flash.
He knows Neon doesn't have flash, so he flashes forward, tries to keep him in place. So much damage from the Primordial Burst, and the Decimating Smash has been used. JeongHoon now out of the lane, looking for the stun. Vetheo going back in with the Kingslayer down, flashes away, and Irrelevant's down to answer 1-for-1. JeongHoon's going to try and get away from this one. Doesn't have much in the terms of escape tools, but Irrelevant will leave him to escape back underneath that tower.
9 kills in roughly 8 minutes. So much fighting going across the entirety of the map. Dajor now sitting on 2 kills, managed to take down Vetheo, turns into a 1-for-1, but he loses the brunt of this wave. This is the problem with top lane winning in isolation so hard. Can push in the wave top, move towards mid, affect the mid fights. So we'll see Irrelevant base and run back and catch that top wave. The second he has Sunder, he is going to start making a montage in the top lane because the Sion is just going to get absolutely demolished. Chachi just sitting on 2 Ruby Crystals right now. Xerxe is going to start up the Herald. Irrelevant should spot it out. JeongHoon is around, but the rest of Misfits are collapsing in.
And Neon and Mersa down towards the bottom side. Misfits should give this one up if they fight
Surely,
it.
Right?
They don't know where the enemy bot lane is. Now they realize JeongHoon is in the area, and Irrelevant has stepped too far forward, thinking he had reinforcements. He does not, because Misfits cannot back him up. Astralis, get the shutdown, get the kill, and we'll get the Rift Herald to boot.
Yeah, Irrelevant getting a little bit ahead of himself there on his 3rd game on the LEC stage. Is very strong, seeing a 3-0, but of course you have a shutdown on your head. Gives that over to Xerxe, ends up dying. 600 gold across. Now, Misfits will get a little bit of bot plates in return, and Chachi will be the one to go towards bot now. I mean, Astralis have a really good map state here now. The fact that Irrelevant died and their bot lane showing bot, they could invade his topside camp, start hitting top tower, drop the Herald, and get a lot of gold into Kobbe as the ultimate's used there. Mersa, smart to block it.
That stops Vizicsacsi from being able to get all the way back to the tower. Chachi will still be able to get here in time to catch any of these minions that he desires. This forces Neon and Mersa to retreat. The reason this happens, obviously, is because Astralis invested their bot lane towards the top side for that Herald. They stay around, clear out the wave. Chachi then has the unstoppable onslaught to get down towards that bottom side, and it gives you that ability to react and catch as many waves as possible.
Definitely does. Yeah, you can't really dive him whatsoever.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult.
Need way more items to be able to dive the sound. And even when you dive him, he doesn't really care. He just catches the wave. No. I've watched enough Baus to know that.
Chachi, sadly, not going for Prowler's Claw here on the Sion, instead deciding he wants to be attacking.
It blows my mind. I mean, I think Baus played a Sion game recently and he went full crit and he dies in his passive. He just kills 3 people. Like, you'd never really expect the punches. 3 punches and you're dead.
Like wearing gloves studded with rocks or something.
It's unreal. JeongHoon's looking around mid, got level 6.
Good hook onto Vetheo there, looking for the stun as well, but the Kingslayer dash away by Vetheo. The mobility on the Sylas helping him out just a little bit there, was ignited as well.
Beauty of both these comps is they're both so skirmish heavy. You know, Yone, Wukong, Pyke really wants to fight a lot of the time in the early stages because they can spike at level 6. Whereas Misfits have a similar sort of thing with the Lillia, the Sylas. A lot of fights happening. Jax is ahead, which innately makes him want to fight more. JeongHoon's just going to go for some top side vision. Misfits going to start up the Dragon. That leaves Irrelevant alone on the top side of the map. A place on the map with incredibly high amount of Astralis wards. They have so much deep vision. They basically have a map hack right now. They could look for a dive if they want. Neon's trying to scout out a bit for him.
225 gold just in control wards towards the top side. Neon dodges away. The sprint and the stun will still connect. Face sealed lands on him as well, and Neon doesn't have flash. Death from below from JeongHoon is enough. He took that dodge personally.
And that's why you don't walk into Astralis' side of the jungle. This is the problem with cross maps, right? Your team's on Drake, their team's on topside tower. Just don't walk in. Regardless of what information you could get, they're probably there anyway, right? Just a game of probability. But now Irrelevant's picked up that Sunder. We'll see what damage he can get done. The smart thing for Astralis so far this game is what they've done is they've taken Chachi and just removed him from the top lane equation. Irrelevant hasn't been laning against the Sion for the past 5 minutes. He's been laning against the Veigar. So the CS number is actually going back to normal, stabilizing the lane a bit.
And you can see the gold lead going over to Astralis as well. Only 1 kill ahead, but the fact that they were able to get those 2 tower plates in the top lane, that 1 tower plate down towards the bottom side has helped them out a ton. They still have the Rift Herald for about 1/3 of its cooldown, so we'll be using that in the next 45 seconds or so.
Definitely will be. And still 4 minutes on the next Drake, of course. First Drake was taken quite late on into the game. Charlotte's actually opting to put their bot lane back towards bot side, expecting Xerxe to try to place a Herald down there, and top lane will be in isolation once again. Just lots of contests around mid, as expected.
Yeah, mid lane has been a key point of focus for these 2 teams. Vetheo has been a key point of focus for all of his opponents, basically playing 1v5 through the early game in the last couple of games, just because teams are so ready to focus him, knowing if you can shut him down, if you can stop his agency in a game, you can really neuter Misfits' ability to play the game. 3v3 down towards this bottom side as the Rift Herald does go down, Caedrel.
Yeah, it definitely does. We saw it in playoffs, right? Vetheo really could not find any impact whatsoever when you have one way to win the game.
It's because he plays for EG.
He plays for EG?
Impact.
Oh, nice. Okay. No, yeah, dude, you said one in the green room as well, and it took me like 5 minutes to register in my brain. Maybe I'm slow today, or you're just extremely witty. Maybe it's medic on a Sunday.
I'm not sure if it's witty or if I just pick a word you've said and try and find something that correlates to that in my brain. Yeah, I'm not sure it's actually intelligent humor. It's just out of nowhere.
I think it's intelligent.
Well, I appreciate that.
I think you're an intelligent man.
That's kind of you, man.
It was a smart one. I think you have to actually make that relation, you have to be intelligent.
Also, I could just be sitting here saying, okay, what word is Caedrel going to say that I can pick something random out about, and not listening to the analysis that you're doing.
So you're just listing out to pick out one singular word without actually listening to what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I see. I'll try that.
That's why we work so well together as a duo.
In one ear, out the other.
Yeah, you don't listen to me, I don't listen to you, we just say what we want.
We just take one word from what the other one said and make a joke out of it.
Exactly.
Well, Kobbe is going to be... I wonder how many stacks he has. 114 stacks so far on the Veigar. Pretty big. Stacking up the AP a little bit. 233 ability power with the Everfrost only. A little bit of damage going on to Mersa. And of course, he will be the only AP damage. I know Veigar V2's out there somewhere smiling, knowing that there's not enough... There's not so many AP damages on his team that Force of Nature can be bought or anything like this. It will just be the single AP damage. Will make Veigar's life a lot easier in terms of itemization.
And if anyone's wondering why we talk about Veigar stacks, basically every time you last hit a minion with your Q, or you hit an enemy with any of your spells, you build up a stack. You can build up more than one stack depending on what minions you're killing. And the more stacks you build up, the more AP you get. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So 120 stacks means he's got 120 extra AP, which is why you often see Everfrost into immediate Rabadons on a Veigar, which is something you wouldn't really see on other AP carries.
And you can see it there. He W's the first, and he goes in a Q through these two ranged.
Yeah.
Another couple stacks. And then, yeah, normally you would save it there, but don't think he had the time. He has Predator as well, so he can gap close quite easily to get the cage. And once you're surrounded by the cage, the only way you can get out is some kind of blink. Dashes will get cancelled. So that's why most of the time you'll see teams just flash out of the cage to make sure that they're safe. But the game has slowed down a little bit. 1 minute on the Dragon. I expect there to be a little bit of action around that. Misfits probably want to get those stacking up as soon as possible. Irrelevant's been a bit quiet since being so far ahead on the Jack. Still has quite a nice CS lead and will be pushing into top right now. It looks like Dajor and Chachi are collapsing towards top. Kobbe will get the first tower of the game. We'll see if Misfits respond.
I think that quietness is more that Astralis haven't given him someone to fight into. You can see like Chachi isn't up there unless there are 3 members of Astralis up there. Dajor now here just to clear out the wave, even though Shlatan is going to join. Unstoppable onslaught will come out from Chachi. Shlatan pops the stopwatch to try and get away from it, then flashes through, but the Cyclone's going to follow him in. Irrelevant diving onto Dajor. Already one down as Shlatan will fall. Dajor trying to escape. Irrelevant joined by 2 more members of his team. The Dawning Shadow didn't do enough to Dajor to take him out. And Misfits will be able to stop the Astralis advance, but it cost them their jungler.
Astralis really just controlling the map right now. They get the bot tier 1, and they're also first to the play in top. Maybe Irrelevant overstaying a little bit too long there, and Shlatan is the one getting baited in. Vin Diesel on Sion just bends it around the corner, and Shlatan's forced to pop the stopwatch straight away. Even if he flashed, he would have been followed unless he went in sort of maybe a downwards direction, but then I think the rest of Astralis would collapse.
All I can think of now is instead of the roar that Sion does as he charges in, it's just them going, "Family!"
Well, next time we see it, I'll think of it as well.
I'm waiting for a crowd, just saying.
Oh,
Yesterday
God.
we had the wee-woos, today we've got the family and the pews.
It's true. Family. Well, Chachi is 2 levels down right now, so he will need a family when it comes to team fights. Needs to play with his team, make sure they're all stacked up together, play some kind of front to back, and make sure that they're safe. He's going to be their protection. Just a big meaty shield. Won't do too much damage, but can have a lot of gap close and chain CC.
And you don't really need the damage when you've got Pyke, when you've got the Yone and the Veigar as well to follow up. Credit to JeongHoon as well on this Pyke. He has constantly been finding Neon with these hooks. Neon forced to flash away there. As we were chatting, TP coming in from Chachi. Irrelevant didn't have his, so Chachi's going to be first to this play as Irrelevant has worked his way down towards the mid lane. Decimating Smash coming out. And Vizicsacsi will keep Mersa at bay. Dragon taken first of the game for Astralis, second of the game in total. Another hook onto Mersa. There's the Everfrost follow-up. Irrelevant diving in. And the damage is only onto the clone as Astralis look to reset and back away from the fight.
Okay, so they get themselves Dragon and they're out. They're going to be able to catch midwave as well. Misfits don't really have anything to respond to. Misfits had another option of just going towards the Herald there or trying to hit the mid-tier one rather than taking the fight. In the end, they aren't able to force it. I mean, their engage is pretty lackluster, and unless Vetheo takes some kind of Sion ult or Mersa gets a knock-up, maybe Irrelevant flanking, their champs just naturally work way better over sides. Irrelevant fighting up against the Yone. Vetheo could try to 1v1 the Sion. I think he needs a couple more items to fight up against Dajor, who will probably win right now. But the problem is, if you're playing a comp that plays mostly towards sides with things like the Jax, the enemy team has a Pyke and a Predator Veigar and mid-push, it's really hard to find any objective to play for. So 1-1 apiece for the Dragons. Will be a long, long way till we see any souls. Herald is still up. That'll crack open a mid-tower if either team gets it, so quite an important objective. Second Herald can do a lot of damage to open up the map.
Yeah, especially with the mid-towers still remaining. You really want to be able to take those down. 2,000 gold lead, though, for Astralis through this early game. And Misfits have been struggling in the early game generally, as have Astralis. Obviously, one of them had to come out with a lead in this game, and this time it is Astralis who have got that slight advantage. Second Howard has been started. JeongHoon looking for it. TP coming in as well, as Kobbe's going to join this fight. Family! Neon caught out of the backline, and the death from below finds its mark. JeongHoon's going to be able to get one. Irrelevant chase down towards the bottom side as Dale's looking for the damage himself. Flashes over the wall. Shlatan going to join in. Another death blow. A triple for JeongHoon. He's going to hook Vetheo back. Lands the stun as well. X marks the spot, but it doesn't quite connect as Vetheo unable to dodge away from the primordial burst.
Fight goes in favor of Astralis, and it's the rookie support of JeongHoon who just gets a triple kill on the Pyke. Maybe could have got himself the quadra, but he just mistimed it. Maybe expected a little more damage to go onto Vetheo. but that's going to crack the game wide open. Mid tower is going to fall. They're going to get themselves Herald, and Xerxe just taking the Hex portal right behind Misfits on top of 2 people straight away. Could save the E as well and the W to get out because he literally landed on top of Neon at that point. We'll take a look at it again. Chachi also quite quick to collapse with his ultimate. And Mersa here, importantly, has to use one of his spells to jump over the wall here, so it's really hard for him to get in range. He has to flash over, I think, to try and eat. There's nothing he can really do in this fight whatsoever. He's trying to find a way in, but they're all way too split up. Shlatan's on one side, Xerxe flashing over to make sure he can't gap close. And then, yeah, just fantastic knockup by Chachi.
Credit to Dajor as well, and Kobbe, who kept the rest of the Misfits team at arm's length. With the event horizon, that Veigar E makes it very difficult for him to ever approach the fight. And of course, Dajor as well with his ultimate. Now Astralis, 4,000 gold ahead, coming up towards the 20-minute mark. They also have that Vetheo to try and crack this tier 1 in the mid lane if they so desire. Irrelevant has struggled after that early game where he was 3-0-1, now sitting at 3-2-1. Has the frozen heart, but that's not going to help you too much if Kobbe is in the fight.
Misfits just look way too disjointed in team fights right now. And yes, it's happening today, but it was also happening yesterday and the day before. They just look so underwhelming in fights. They need to play together, communicate better. Vetheo looking for a pick onto JeongHoon, and Chachi just there to make sure he's safe.
Cowardly charges away. Irrelevant was going to take the tower, so no big surprise that Chachi didn't really want a piece of that action. We'll trade with Irrelevant a little bit, but the Sion's not here to fight the Jax at all. Yes, he'll get a bit of chip damage in, but really he's on wave clear duty as the Jax pushes in that way.
And just going back to draft a little bit, when the Senna first pick came in, we saw Chachi 1-2 a Sion, and I think it makes a lot of sense, not only because Orin's banned away and he probably wants to pick a tank anyway, but Senna as an AD carry with Tahm Kench next to her means that their tank shredding ability from bot lane is very, very weak. You know, you don't have things like Kaisa or any kind of Kraken Slayer champion. You have a lethality champion hitting up against a full armor Sion, right, at this point in the game. So relying on other sources of damage, of course, the lane phase was quite difficult and maybe could have been snowballed a lot harder, but now there's a TP behind Dajor. He has no flash. Chachi has TP if he wants to match.
I mean, Dajor does have the ultimate here. He's going to catch Irrelevant with it. Counter-Strike coming out as Irrelevant dives in for the Sun. Counter-TP now used. Stopwatch as well. Schlatan's going to try and join this one. Maybe catch Kobbe out with the event horizon goes in. Sleep only onto Kobbe. Irrelevant now locked in the midst of 3 members of Astralis, and he's been left alone by the rest of his team. 1-for-1 trade so far. JeongHoon comes in, gets another 3v4. Astralis looking to mop this one up. Shlatan, no ultimate, ignited, trying to get forward onto JeongHoon, who can pop this blast cone to get away. Won't use it yet. Xerxe dives in once again. Dajor trying to heal off the minions. Meanwhile, the decoy distracts them. Chachi low. Unstoppable onslaught against the wall, but Shlatan with the movement speed and with the swirl seed will get the chase. JeongHoon's going to get a stun. Dajor has just backed away, just pushed in that top side of the map.
Yeah, it looks like Misfits coming out on top there, and we'll be able to take away the red buff, get a little bit of deep vision into Astralis' topside jungle. And Ulf came off the back of the Dajor, just kind of pushing it a little bit too deep. Dragon's up in 5 seconds. Chachi dead for 25, doesn't have access to that TP. Maybe Misfits just want to take a beeline and just run straight towards it.
Dajor's going to try and get mid-prio if he can. No fate sealed for him, no flash as well, makes it very difficult for him to really push too far forward. Misfits could collapse on him pretty quickly. The rest of Astralis are here though, and Kobbe with the Predator could look to get in. They are going for Neon. Neon does have flash, hook onto Mersa. JeongHoon getting out, Irrelevant looking for the flank himself. Jumps in, double counter-strike, double stun. Event Horizon there, but Irrelevant's going to get stunned up. The Abyssal Voyage, and there's the Everfrost as well. Irrelevant low, able to get away. The Highlanders might doing so much work for him, that extra tankiness. Chachi now joins it with the Hex Gates. Misfits stepping in, Vetheo steals away the ultimate, and is looking for something with the Predator coming back out from Kobbe as Astralis trying to turn it around. Dajor does have TP, he's backing in the mid lane as the Dragon now started by Misfits. Would be their second of the game. Counter TP, and Dajor going deep, fate sealed. An option for him, Vetheo, so looking for that death from below. Dragon, Rift held, secured, Dajor. Base sealed onto Irrelevant is a possibility. Soul Unbound, Counter-Strike going in, Abyssal Voyage as well. Could be used, Mersa trying to get the damage in. JeongHoon on the flank as well, already one has gone. Vetheo falls, Dajor jumps back into the pit. JeongHoon trying to keep Irrelevant at bay. He dives back in, he gets one. But at what cost? Irrelevant taken out by Kobbe, the Dragon as well. On the menu for Astralis, Neon and Shlatan trying to trade into this beefcake that is Vizicsacsi. And the water donkey is damn tanky. That Sion unkillable. Xerxe will help Vizicsacsi pick up a kill. The tongue lash dodged.
He's still alive.
And he is still alive as he walks away.
Dajor soloed the Dragon off screen there. Such a long fight. All started in the choke where Irrelevant looked for the jump over the wall for an engage. Nobody died in that choke, ironically. Then Dajor getting chunked out so low rejoins the fight. Here it is again. Everyone kind of from Misfits zoned away from the cage initially, and then Chachi joins the fight through the Hex Gate. Dajor can't find a kill because his ultimate's not up yet. You can see it's just coming off cooldown right now. Chachi rejoins, Misfits forced to regroup. Now, Dajor bases, TP's behind. has an incredible flank, but the fight's just split up way too much. Kobbe, in the last fight on top lane, actually died before the fight began. He tried to kill Vetheo, but didn't manage to trade 1-for-1. So the top side fight, Astralis was playing with literally no carries. And this time around, they were both just popping off on both sides of the fight. Dajor dashing around, Misfits on the other side, Kobbe just taking out Vetheo.
And the fight continues. You can see JeongHoon doing such a good job of just distracting Misfits. Irrelevant's like, okay, we can get this kill, but pays for it with his life. And Sjokz basically untouched through the entirety of this. Thanks up Misfits for what seems like a lifetime. 5,500 gold to lead for Astralis, their second dragon of the game. They could turn over to this Baron, but unless they have Dajor there, their Baron taking skill is very slow.
They have an incredibly fast Nash, though, I think.
You do?
Like, if Dajor's there, it's really quick, the 100% crit build. And they have a lot of good turn options as well. Kobbe can just pop the Predator and pop the E. Someone has to flash straight away.
Oh, Neon, he's going to have to flash away. Event Horizon coming down. There's the unstoppable onslaught. Looking for his family.
Boom.
Found him.
Gets the wave. And now Senna not having flash. Tahm Kench, no flash. Irrelevant's not running against Shlatan, no flash. They should have these timers. There should be the support or the jungler just copy-pasting these timers in the chat non-stop and the exact timers, and they should know that if they just start this Baron up right now, they can turn instantly, and the first one that walks up with no flash is going to get the cage around them, they're going to get hooked, they're going to get knocked up, and Sjokz now looking for some information. This Baron will go down really quickly with Veigar and Yone on top of it. I think it's going to be gone before Shlatan can get in range. His flash is coming up in a second, though.
Yeah, it's already gone. Down to 1,000, secured, smited. TP comes in from Irrelevant, and Misfits might look for a fight. Might feel like it's their last hope. Irrelevant jumps in, Event Horizon goes down, and Misfits really can't find too much. Xerxe, the only one caught out here, but Shlatan had to jump across the wall to do so. JeongHoon does have the death from below, but it looks like Astralis actually may just want to disengage. JeongHoon thinking other of it. Perhaps has a different plan in mind. The hook hits onto Mersa. Oh, good stopwatch from Shlatan, but now he's not in the best of situations. They are looking for the jump across the wall, does have the fate seal. They're going to Mersa first. Counter strike by Irrelevant, but he only stuns the 2 tanks, and that's not really what you're looking for. Vetheo stolen death from below, so if Astralis do fall low, he will be able to secure those kills, but the face seal will find him. Dajor dashing, Immortal Shield both dashing away to survive once again. Dashes back, Shlatan takes him. Vetheo, Shlatan and Neon have to walk away wounded though, as Astralis continue on the chase. And the unstoppable onslaught meets Vetheo, decimating smash, stopped with that watch, but he can only watch as he dies afterwards. Kobbe unstoppable, 717 on the Veigar.
Astralis now just running away with this game. Very decisive from the get-go, and now they just start the fight off. Shlatan pops stopwatch, and here we get to see the beautiful interaction of Pike Hook into Veigar cage. Though when the Jax jumps in, he gets pulled in. Normally see things like an Analyst Veigar, so he can headbutt him into the cage. This time around, Irrelevant, when the second he wants to turn, he gets pulled into it, stunned up into 4 or 5 members, instantly dies. Dajor tries his best to dash around here to survive, but he ends up falling to Shlatan's burn, and then from there onwards, Astralis just chasing forwards. They've got nothing left really. Misfits, they have to run for the hills, and Sjokz chases them with the ultimate.
As much as you can threaten one player on Astralis at any given time, they have a triple threat team right now. Xerxe has the Black Cleaver and the Maw, and Dajor, as well as you said, with that 100% crit build, is in such a strong position. Kobbe, 3 items complete. Rabadon second. It's probably at about 250 stacks right now on that Veigar as well. He'll be sitting... let's do a quick guess on how much AP it has. Go on.
722.
Yeah, I was going to go 650.
Okay.
So we'll have a look in a second as the observers will switch to Kobbe for us.
921! Okay. We were nowhere close.
Just a tad.
I guess the Baron helps out a little bit. But yeah, Rabadon's, he's got 304 stacks. We were well off.
Yeah, almost 1,000 AP at 27 minutes in the game, and the magic resist on the enemy team just isn't enough. Only that more, really, in terms of magic resistance for Misfits. And Astralis now pushing in the bottom lane as Irrelevant. Pushes in the top. Doesn't have the TP to join his team.
Might get an objective bounty though, but he needs to make sure his base doesn't die. Astralis going to get the first inhibitor. They could push on. They have double cannon here if they just want to use the cage to try and hit the tower, but no, they're going to move towards mid. Sjokz's going to base and catch top to make sure Irrelevant can't push for any inhib towers. He has TP to rejoin. Irrelevant doesn't, so they could force a 5v4.
Yeah, all it takes is a hook, right? Because Sjokz has TP. And Irrelevant doesn't. Mersa's going to be the one hooked in. Everfrost used, the thick skin coming out as well. There's the Cyclone. Mersa flashes away. Xerxe's going to jump out with the decoy as well. Misfits might look to re-engage. 2-man sleep. Vetheo going in. Death from below, a possibility. Xerxe trying to trade back in. There's the death from below, goes wide. But the shutdown still comes in. Dajor looking for a re-engage, can't find it. So Astralis have to walk away. Misfits able to find one, but they lose 2 inhibitors for it.
Kobbe's looking here. He has Predator up, can't put the cage down. Neon, no flash. Mersa, no flash. Still has access to the ultimate as well. Sjokz's going to clear out the top wave, and Dragon is up. So I think Astralis are just going to go for the Hex Tech Dragon, get themselves on Soul Point. No point risking the game. Sjokz just catching top. Maybe they could have forced 5v4, tried to push down to the Nexus, but taking 2 inhibs, getting yourself on Dragon Soul point, playing it slow, it's always the safest bet. Now, Kobbe has TP, so if they spot Irrelevant here, Kobbe can just TP on the ward behind him.
There's one down towards where the Hex Gate would be at that blue buff. Sjokz puts a ward over the wall as well as they're going to go for it.
Ghost.
Unstoppable onslaught. Irrelevant dodges to the side. No mana on him though.
You have no mana.
You got no mana, Irrelevant. You got nowhere to go. Slowed up. Event Horizon coming down. Hook's going to come in as well. Stuns him up. Primordial Burst. Almost half his HP. And the death from below will secure the kill. Kobbe now crested 1,000. Oh, it's gone back down as the Baron wears off. No, it wasn't even the Baron. What was it that just wore off?
I was not looking whatsoever, but was it 1,000 a second ago?
It was over 1,000 it went down. I'm sure someone would tweet at us being like, I can't believe you didn't realize. It's the interaction.
I would have thought it went up because of the Magi's, right?
Yeah,
but,
so, yeah.
Yeah,
obviously some sort of buff went down on him and he lost it. Maybe he had an elixir that expired.
Perhaps he did, but they're going to push into this top tier 2. Irrelevant's dead. This is the last inhib, so Misfits, you have an option. Well, you have one choice here. It's defend your top inhib. Either that be stall it down, try to clear the wave out, or just fight them the second the tower dies. We'll see what option they go for, because if they lose this inhibitor, the game is pretty much over.
I think looking at it, the game may have been over in their minds a while ago. Astralis have just been dominant for the last 10 minutes or so, and they continue to be as they take the 3rd inhibitor of the game. JeongHoon having an absolute masterclass on this pike, constantly in the right position, finding hooks. Had all that vision control in the early game that really set it up for them.
Cosmic Drive.
Cosmic Drive, there we are.
Must have been Cosmic Drive that gave him the extra bonus AP that you saw. But yeah, 3 inhibs down. Astralis can now just walk with the waves, wait for them to come out. But here's the TP. You can see the super creep, double super creeps are coming out of base right now. There is one in bot lane.
On their way towards it, Astralis will just want to keep Misfits penned in their base for as long as possible, corral them like cattle into this area behind their walls. Irrelevant could try and answer down towards this bottom side. TP is not available for Dajor yet, so you couldn't have that really speedy reaction in terms of going down towards that bottom lane. And Astralis will reset 20 seconds on the Baron. Looks like they're going to need the big purple worm to secure this game.
Why not, you know? Could risk it.
Why not?
Could push in with the waves.
Why? You don't need to risk it, right?
Don't need a biscuit, so you don't need to risk it.
I would love a biscuit.
Which one's your favorite biscuit?
Hobnob.
Hobnob. Dude, they were so good.
Good old chalky hobnob.
With a cup of tea as well.
Oh, delicious.
We're so British.
We are pretty British, mate.
Well, they're going to start up the Baron. Misfits have to walk in. TP coming out. I think Sjokz could just stop the Baron here and just buy time, wait for the waves to come in. They play on their own game, not on Misfits' game. So they're just going to slow it down, and now Misfits realize, well, we now need to clear waves, so Astralis is going to start it up again. It's almost like a seesaw effect, and Vetheo is going to lose half his HP.
Holy! That's without his ultimate, by the way. Hook goes in as well. Mersa, Primordial Bursted. Does more damage, although a healthier opponent is. Unstoppable Onslaught coming in. Flash Hook will hit Mersa. Decimating Smash comes down as well, and Vizicsacsi is just buying time for the rest of his team. The Super Minions as well on the Nexus Towers. Mersa hook back once again. Death from below will mark his demise. And Misfits, even 3 players strong, can't work their way through Vizicsacsi. Dajor TP down towards the bottom lane, and it's all done. But the Nexus falling, you have to feel here for Astralis.
Definitely is. They're just going to buff up the super creeps. Nothing Misfits can really do. They can try themselves a fight. Shlatan flashes forwards.
Looking for the multi-man sleep, but he only lands it onto 2. JeongHoon still has the GA to come back. Dawn Shadow will find him. The minions doing so much work, and Irrelevant not. As Astralis will be able to lock this one down. Neon and Vetheo can only stand and watch as their Nexus falls for the 3rd time in 3 games.
Wow, this version of Astralis looks a hell of a lot different to previous iterations we've seen. 2 and 1 on the Super Week. Sitting pretty happy. Maybe they didn't have the hardest of schedules. Yes, they played against G2, were a little bit competitive, but this is definitely a different version of Astralis.
I mean, they got 3 wins in the entirety of spring, and they were already 2/3 of the way there.
True.
In 3 games. So I think this Astralis definitely revitalized coming into summer, and the addition of JeongHoon and Xerxe and Vizicsacsi seems to have really bolstered them as a team.
I think Dajor stepping up as well.
Yep.
This is his 2nd split in the LEC. I think he's been having fantastic games. The Vex was kind of like, I won't say his one trick, but Vex and Rise were his comfort in spring, but now he's very willing to kind of go for different champions, explore different avenues of AD mids, things like the Victor we've seen already. So seeing a different style out of him. I'm sure he's been grinding a lot throughout the offseason, which, I mean, of course, if you don't make playoffs, your season is a lot shorter, which gives you a lot more time to just try to practice and reflect.
Very true. Seems like it's working out really well for Astralis right now.
Oh, yeah, carry.
What's up?
No, I just thought you were going to make a joke at the end of that sentence.
No, no
Okay,
jokes,
okay.
no jokes needed. I'm just agreeing with you.
Okay, I just preemptively started going, oh god.
See,
what have I
we've
said?
got to that point now.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
It's always in your head. But yeah, for Misfits, obviously a struggle of a week. A struggle of a weekend. They really don't seem to be on the same page. Can't really find out exactly what is going wrong for them, and it seems like teams are very willing just to focus out Vetheo.
The problem is nothing's happening in the early game.
Yeah.
And the lanes are stable at times. But then after the lane phase, objective control is kind of horrendous in a sense. The team fights, they just look so